Let's go. All right.
Winner of the Best On-Air Schedule Award from the Intercollegiate Broadcasting System.
The voice of Nassau Community College.
This is the award-winning 90.3 WHPC.
WHPC HD Garden City.
Available on the iHeartRadio app.
Welcome to another edition of From the Press Box. Here every Monday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., talking sports. I'm Rob Leonard. Joining me, as he does every week, is my brother, Tim Leonard.
How you doing?
Happens to be
How you doing?
Happens to be an award-winning sports writer. Won many awards over the years. And we do this every Monday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., talking sports. As there are many things that happened this week, brother.
Lots of things.
The NFL draft happened.
By the way, brother, before we start, I'd like to wish you a happy St. Wenger's Day.
Thank you. I don't even know what that means.
That means that Tottenham is clinched, finishing ahead of Arsenal for the second
straight
straight
about this
year.
Stuff? Why do you care?
Because it's a big deal, brother.
It isn't.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
So
if you live in England, it's a big deal.
Happy St. Wenger's Day.
If you live here in the United
To
States,
one and all.
Anyways, Mets. The good news is the Mets are still in first place.
Ooh, this is barely.
Game and a half over Atlanta, who seem to be back in the game now. And the Yankees are 2 games behind Boston.
How about that?
Look at that.
That's our lead story today, brother.
9 games in a row they've won.
That is our lead story.
They were 9-9 last week. Now they're 18-9.
Well, they were 11-9.
11-9, whatever.
You mocked them.
I did not mock them.
You were nasty to the Yankees.
Not me.
Yes, you.
Why would I?
Yes, you.
Why would I be nasty to the Yankees?
You were down on the New York Yankees. You said 11-9 wasn't good enough, and what were they doing?
I think I can't. I said the season was over.
It was a very negative tone that you took with the New York Yankees. And what did I say? What was my response to that?
Well, we can't say it on the air.
That early season doesn't mean a whole lot. Is it important? Yes, of course, in the sense that every game is important. But what happens in April is often overrated as it relates to the rest of the season. And now you're seeing that because the New York Yankees, for all that Boston has done, and the Boston Red Sox, yes, they're still in first place, but for all that they have done in April, the Yankees are a mere 2 games behind the Red Sox currently.
The Boston Red Sox are currently the number 1 team in baseball.
They do have the best record. What are
20
they?
and 7.
20 and 7. Good for them. They've won 20 games in April. That's a great record. Now they'll win 10 games in May.
Okay, well they're
maybe
5,
11.
They're 5-5 in the last 10.
Well, I'm going to remember this for the end of May. I'm giving them 11 wins in May.
11 wins. Okay. If you say so.
And I've told my mook friend Crouchy,
yes,
who I refer to sometimes on the show, but he's one of those Boston mooks, and I told him that the Yankees would be in first place by mid-May. And that sentiment actually was echoed on Twitter the other day by none other than David Waldstein of the New York Times, esteemed baseball writer.
Okay, well, why didn't you invite him on the show?
Well, because we're not tight.
If he's on your Twitter thing or whatever.
I follow a lot of people on Twitter.
Then if he follows you,
I don't think he does follow me.
Oh, I thought you said no. I thought you said you follow. Okay.
No.
Well, why don't you just say, hey, man, I follow you. We need you to come on the show.
I will inquire. How about that, brother?
Why not? That's how you get people.
I will inquire.
You know, our 4th anniversary show is in 4 weeks.
It certainly is.
We need guests. We need guests.
I guess I'm going to have to work on that.
You have to. These are all your friends. These are all your buddies. You know, Wally Matthews, Christy Ackert.
These are all esteemed writers.
You know them all.
Yes, I do.
So then get going. You're busy. You're a busy man.
Unfortunately, the writers that you know, unfortunately, passed away. Your man Phil Pepe.
Well, yeah, Pepe was willing, I think, to come on.
He was.
We were in the middle of trying to ask him.
He was a good guy. We liked having him on. He was a good guest.
We were trying to figure out how we can have him on once a month.
That was and then his unfortunate demise made that impossible.
Yes. So anyway, brother, what do you want to start with the Yankees? Because they have been playing well. The Mets haven't been playing well. Though they played well last night.
Well, they
revenged the Saturday debacle.
And I must say, I did enjoy watching the Mets playing from San Diego just a little bit more because I had actually been in Petco Park just a week earlier. Because I was in San Diego.
That's true. You took the tour.
I was in San Diego last week. I took the tour of the ballpark, and it's a nice ballpark. I still think $17 for the tour was a little much. For that kind of money, they probably should have given us a beer or something.
Or some pretzels.
Something. But it was we got to see the visitors' clubhouse. We got to be in the dugout, walk on the field a little bit. We got to see the metal warehouse, which is actually they take credit in San Diego for having the oldest structure in Major League Baseball. And the park is only about 12 or 15 years old. I forget how old it is.
They take something from...
The metal warehouse down the left field line, which they repurposed to fit in the stadium. It's actually part of the stadium now. That building is 109 years old. So because of that, San Diego says it has the oldest stadium in Major League Baseball.
Oh, that's stupid.
It's because that building is older than Fenway Park.
Is it something that was used in baseball, or is it just a building they found?
It's an old building. It's an old. It says metal warehouse on the top of the left field line. So I mean, it's a cool building, and they've certainly redeveloped it in a great way. But they had to do so much to the building because obviously a 109-year-old building doesn't have any handicap facilities for it, and it didn't have. I don't think it had an elevator even. So they had to do a lot to repurpose. But it's a really nice touch. I like that building is there, and they've turned it into a big party zone, like a multi-level party zone. There's bars and there's decks, and you can buy tickets to go out and sit out there. But you have to buy. It's a group thing. You have to buy 30 tickets, and the woman said it averages to about $130 a piece, which isn't bad considering you want to go to the Mets game for $120, but that's an all-you-can-eat kind of deal.
Yeah. There's a thing on the Hyundai box,
right? So, but anyway, it was
all you can eat.
It was a good time. I explained to people. I actually started doing a little bit of a talk during the tour because I told the woman who was leading the tour that I had been a sports writer and that I covered baseball, and I saw a picture of Dave Winfield's Hall of Fame speech, and I told the woman hosting the tour, I said, I got to be honest with you. I said it was kind of a depressing day, and she says, "Excuse me," and I'm like, "Look," I said, "Here, dear," I said, "Do you want to hear the story?" And she says, "Well, what are you talking about?" I said, "Look," I covered Dave Winfield's Hall of Fame speech. I was there that day.
Didn't he mention every agent and?
I said, "Look," I said, that was when I told her in the group. I said, "Look, I'm a sports writer by trade." I said, "I covered."
Glad to see you admitting it.
I covered Dave Winfield's Hall of Fame speech. I was there. I said he thanked his accountant. He thanked his agent. He thanked every part of his business. Partnership in his group. I said it was depressing, and I said it was made even more depressing because Bill Mazeroski also was inducted in that class.
I remember that one, yeah.
And Mazeroski couldn't even speak because he was so overcome by emotion that he couldn't get more than 2 sentences out before he'd start breaking down crying again. And after probably about 7 or 9 or 10 minutes or so, he finally just gave up. He said, "I can't do this," and he walked off the stage because he was that emotional about finally making it to the Hall of Fame. And then, like I said, after that, here comes Dave Winfield. "Well, I'd like to thank my accountant and my longtime agent," and I'm like, this is the most antiseptic speech I've ever heard. It was depressing.
And he went in as a Padre.
And the worst part of it for me personally was that because I was writing for a New York, New Jersey-based paper, I had to write about Winfield. I would have much rather written about Bill Mazeroski, and here's a guy who's an old-school player, and he's so touched about going into the Hall of Fame that he couldn't even speak. That's how much this meant to him. And instead, we get Dave Winfield and his corporate speak. Because Winfield was more or less the first baseball player who was really kind of a brand. and that whole thing about being a brand,
Right,
making
right.
your own brand. And he was one of the first guys on that bandwagon where he had his team around him. Now everybody has a team around them, and I'm not talking about the Yankees. I'm talking about the agent and the lawyers and the accountants and the whole business aspect of the whole thing. That these guys are all spending who knows how many hundreds of thousands of dollars on. But that was the part of the tour that I wasn't crazy about. So then everybody kept asking me about different stories and what was my favorite road ballpark and what did I like about Yankee Stadium, and did I like the visitors clubhouse? Did it meet my specifications? And I'm like, yeah, it looked like a regular visitors clubhouse. There wasn't anything special about it.
No.
But I had some comfortable chairs in the middle of the room. I told her straight up. I said, look, I think the flat screens are a little small. I said in a regular clubhouse, I said there should be some bigger screens. I said, but I said guys hang out, they watch a little Judge Judy or something. That's what they do. That's what Derek Bell did back in the day. So,
well, what else are you going to do? They're just waiting around.
But that's where we were, and that's where we are, and I had a good time doing it. I took a few pictures, posted them on Facebook if anybody's curious. But had a good time.
So what else is going on with the Yankees?
Well,
we got off on
I didn't say anything about the Yankees.
I know.
So
you
far.
went off on tangent land.
Telling my vacation stories.
Yes.
The Yankees now are winners of 9 in a row. That is, I believe, a season high in Major League Baseball this season. They just swept the Anaheim Angels. The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim and Long Beach and Malibu and Orange County. I don't know what their name is ridiculous. But last night's score was 2-1. That comes after I believe it was a 12-1 victory the night before, where the Yankees batted around in each of the first 2 innings. So Brett Gardner, by the end of the second inning, had 3 at bats.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty nice. That's a nice way to start a game. So yesterday, my man Gary Sanchez, hit another home run, 2-run bomb.
Okay.
As soon as he hit it, you knew it was gone. And the thing that I was enjoying so much about this weekend's 4-game series in Anaheim was how many Yankee fans were there.
But that's the way it is in Anaheim.
Yankee fans took over the ballpark.
No. I've been to Anaheim Stadium, whatever they were calling it back in the mid-'90s, with Steve Mandracina, host of Everything and Anything right here on WHBC. And it was a Red Sox-Angels game, and there were more Red Sox fans than Angel fans. And Yankees, it's like going down to Tampa Bay. There's much more Yankee fans in Tampa Bay than for Tampa.
Well,
or Miami. There's much more New York fans.
All I know is the crowd was reported at about 44,000 last night for the
Really?
ESPN game, and at least 20,000 of them were Yankee fans.
One of the guys, I forgot who the announcer was. He said, it seems like these guys want to go to stands after the game, meaning the fans in the crowd.
The announcer last night?
Yeah.
That's Matt Vasgersian.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan.
He said that, but he didn't explain what stands was. He
Yankee fans don't know what stands
I know,
is.
but he should have said, stands own, the block around the stadium.
Yeah. Now they moved the stadium down the road a little bit. Now there's like a dollar store across the street from Yankee Stadium now, and Stan's is like next to the dollar store.
Oh, okay.
They pushed Yankee Stadium down the block.
I know that.
So
there's a McDonald's across the street. Yeah.
Well, that too, but that was there before.
Yeah.
But the dollar store is a recent opening. But I tell you what, the Yankees are getting very solid starting pitching. Tanaka pitched well the other night. CeCe pitched outstanding yesterday. Severino the night before pitched well. So the pitching has been doing what it needs to do, and the offense has been the Yankees' offense. It's been phenomenal. Aaron Judge is hitting home runs. Stanton is still a little slow, but Gary Sanchez has finally broken through. He had a terrible start, and his terrible start was overshadowed because Stanton was having such a bad start that nobody really paid that much attention to Gary Sanchez because the whole story was, well, Stanton, look at Stanton. Like, why doesn't he have 15 home runs already?
Why doesn't he?
Because he's had a slow start. He's not. He hasn't been horrible, but he hasn't. He's not on a pace to hit 60 home runs yet. But he's definitely not on that pace yet. But you know who's killing is Didi Gregorius.
The new idol.
First in the
Yankees.
American League in home runs.
Right.
First in the American League in RBIs.